Graham Vincent, musician and violin maker. Right, I'm going to make some violin labels. So, I mean, obviously this video is entitled How to Make Violin Labels. Well, like all things in life, there's probably hundreds of different ways of doing it. So the better title would be How I Make Violin Labels. First scroll I ever carved, 1982. This is just printed on a bit of brown parcel tape, so forgive the paper, but that kind of is the look that I'm after, a sort of Cremonese style, very handmade, like a wood block sort of carving. And that kind of sits well in these violins. I think you can see the label or not. But I mean, I'd love to be able to tell you that I sort of spent a week carving a stamp, but I didn't. What I did, and what I would suggest is probably one of the most very sensible ways of doing this, is to get a font that you like on the computer, produce a label layout that you like, put it into something like Paint, and disrupt it, move it about, change the font a little bit, stagger some of the letters, change the spacing, generally make it look handmade. When you're happy with that, output it and then send it off to a rubber stamp maker, and that's exactly what I did. And back comes a rubber stamp. And that may seem like such a cheat, but there are only so many hours in the day, basically. It is a label I designed. Yeah, I didn't make it all by hand. Anyway, but there we go. Moving on, the thing that kind of made me feel moved to make this video now is at the weekend I went to the Greenside Fair and I bumped into someone called, goodness gracious, what's her name now? Catherine John, that's it, who does, seems to have a lovely lifestyle, sort of producing handmade pigments and inks and writing poetry and just generally being inspiring. I'll put a link to her website there. And I bought a little bottle of it's oak, gall and iron ink, and it was an oak gall that she picked up in the Mendip Hills in 2018 and has produced this lovely ink from it, the Natural Ink Project. And I just kind of thought, wow, that's what I want my labels to be sort of made from. So I've actually, this is quite thin in itself, so what I've done is I've actually thickened it up with a little bit of acrylic body. And I've left it soaking into an ink pad, so it should be fairly easy to print now. I like to have my labels on, I don't know if you can see this. This is a 19th century poetry book. It was damaged. I got it for, I think, 10p or something like that. But it's all beautiful hand-laid paper. It's also slightly discoloured. It's got that look of age about it, which is really nice. I'm not trying to fool anyone, and I don't, put the wrong dates onto my violins or anything like that. But nevertheless, it's lovely if most of the elements of the violin kind of look of an age, shall we say. And so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so let's just adjust this. I mean, I'm sure you can see exactly how this is going to go. Let's give it a whirl. Looks nice to me. So I'll carry on. I shall probably make, as I've got this set up, I'm probably going to make like 20 or 30 of them or something. which is enough for a couple of years of violin production. I'll hand cut them like this, so it doesn't matter if they're slightly wobbly. That actually kind of all helps really in the grand scheme of things. And so we'll end up like that. So it'll be a natural ink on old hand-laid paper. I use India ink and, hang on a minute, let me just get it. Again, to make things look right, I use a dip pen. So there we go. That's how I do it. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. I don't know if this is going to be at all interesting, this video. It just seems a little bit short and silly, but you end up with a label that when it's I glue these in with whatever glue I'm using to actually put the violin together as well. So there's no special paper glue or anything like that. And I normally put them in when the body is open and stick it to the back before the front goes on. I tend to put the backs onto my violins before the fronts. I'm sure most people do. Yeah, so that's it really. You end up with a very traditional looking label. Total cost, I can't remember how much the stamp cost. It wasn't a lot of money. The ink, that little bottle was £10. Obviously I used some acrylic sort of body as well, but only pence worth, a tiny little amount. And there we go. Hope that's been interesting. I keep looking at the screen rather than over there where the camera is. So let's try that again. Hope that's been interesting. Yeah, do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, keep in touch. Look after yourselves, folks. Cheers, bye.